Good night to the people of Lammings. Good night on this rainy night. Ryan, I want to tell you that in every significant moment in my political life, it has been surrounded by rain. And if rain will be to you what it was to me, then you too shall be benefiting from showers of blessings. And Dale, I don't know where you have gone, but I heard you, in your own style, commit to continue serving the people of St. Joseph from the side. I think we need J450, J450. Could you please move? The police need to get out. You're blocking them in. But yes, Dale, I heard you. And I know that in your heart of hearts, when you become close to people in a constituency, they are like family. I tell people all the time that the people in St. Michael Northeast, I have known them and been with them since 1989. I was 24 years old when I came with them. And for 36 years, they helped raise me, nurture me, form me, guide me, mentor me. And I have no doubt, Dale, that is how you feel about the people of St. Joseph. And it would be inappropriate for me to come here and not salute you, not only as the Member of Parliament for the people of St. Joseph since 2003, but also as the Attorney General who has guided this government from day one. I have said publicly that I know very few people who work harder than Dale Marshall. And I want you, the people of St. Joseph, to know how grateful I am to you for giving us the opportunity to be able to have Dale Marshall be our Attorney General to guide this government as we sought to stabilize this country and literally create the platform for transformation. My friends, we come to Lammings tonight conscious of the relationship that we have had traditionally with the people of St. Joseph, and conscious that we have started work for your benefit, even if all has not been completed. I well remember, Dale, in 2021, when you took the journey with me to Castle Grant, and we made the determination to be able to make the investments in water in this parish. We know that the water comes from both within, from the Castle Grant Reservoir, as well as the Apes Hill one. And we knew that we needed to build a new Castle Grant Reservoir, which will allow us now to go and repair the old one so that we can augment the amount of water that is available to you, the people. And why do I remember this? Boo husbands of blessed memory. Boo called me to this parish in 2016 when the only story in St. Joseph was no water at all. And we committed then that we would seek to make wrong things right with you, the people of this parish. And I'm happy today that while we are still doing additional work, a large part of the work that has stabilized the situation has been done. The new reservoir to replace the old one will shortly start. But part of the other issue is to replace the mains that will also make it easier for the people in this district here in Lammings to continuously get higher pressure. Because one of the problems is that as long as you have the reservoirs low at Castle Grant, because of the quality of mains, you may get lower pressure, and that creates problems for people. So we are aware, and we will deal with it methodically, just as we did with the rest of the problem. And the truth is, we have the financing for it under the European Investment Bank loan, and it will make it possible for us to be able to get through. But in this parish, you have also been bedeviled by the confluence, by the reality that the nature of your geology here in the Scotland district means that you are more subject to slippage than other parts of the island where we have coral stone. It was against that backdrop that we entered the Scotland District loan with the Chinese. 15 roads have already been completed, and many, many more are being done. But the truth is that the geology of this area is challenging. And that which would take much shorter in other parts will invariably take longer here. And we have had to pray on your patience, both in terms of the sequencing of roads, but also with respect to the completion of them. This is part and parcel, regrettably, of what it means to deal with a backlog of infrastructure that no one has dealt with. You have heard the people in the Ministry of Public Works, including the Minister, talk about the fact that we inherited a situation in this country where bridges had not been maintained for decades. And you know, sometimes I liken the government to a vacuum cleaner, because we have had to come in and clean up so much. That is perhaps why, as we stand here in Lammings tonight, James Paul found himself in Oystons on the platform, asking people on the 11th of February to go out and vote for the Barbados Labour Party. I can understand why he, James Paul, as a member of the Democratic Labour Party, who represented the people in St. Michael West Central during the last decade, could feel so overwhelmed by the work that we are doing that his first instinct, what we would call a Freudian slip, was to tell you on the 11th to give this Labour Party the vote. And you know, when you start to look at having to clean up the infrastructure, it also reminds us that the infrastructure is not limited to the roads alone, or the bridges, or the water infrastructure, but even with respect to sporting and community pavilions, sporting pavilions and community centers. The country has not kept pace with the needs of the people. And that is why we have asked the ministry to look at new designs and to look at new materials so that we can truly have an onslaught to meet the energy and interests of our young people. I know fully that if people are actively engaged in sporting activity, if people have the opportunity to be able to be seen, it was here during the Ideas Forum, Dale, Ryan, that we met the youngsters from St. Joseph who had won the football competition. It was here that Dexter from Dexter's Academy made the plea to me, not just to be able to help those who have reached the top, like his own son who is in Brazil, studying and playing football, but to create opportunities for others. And that is in part what motivated the government and myself to be able to continue strongly with two major sporting programs. The Prime Minister's Cup, which we celebrate the finals every year on Independence Night now, and then the T20 block competition, which gives other people the opportunity not just to have some fun and recreation for the rest of us who go out and watch the games, but to be able to identify talent and to allow that talent to move to higher levels. So that sporting activity will continue to be essential to create the opportunities for our young people, both at a recreational level, but also at a professional level. But when all is said and done, you come back to jobs. And this government, without being boastful, has presided over a reduction in unemployment to the point where it is the lowest ever in the history of this country. But we understand that even with that, we have to create opportunities for more skills, because many of our young people are coming out and not necessarily having the skills that are needed. That is why we created Construction Gateway, to be able to take those youngsters who want to learn a trade and to be able to give them the chance, not just to go in and be a laborer and earn at the bottom. Ryan, you appreciate this. You are an engineer, and you have worked and seen many a man lift himself and his family by being able to become proficient in a trade, to be the best that he can be, to be able to go to work. And you know that if you have a skill and a trade, you're going to earn more than a man who is at the bottom as a laborer alone. And that is the kind of conversations that we've not only had, but we've put the systems in place for you to be able to learn so that you can better earn. And I know and I have the confidence that Ryan Braffett is going to bring that passion here, because without anything more, he knows what you want, because he has walked the same road as many of you. Born in this parish, lifted himself up, applied himself. And it is amazing that the passion which he has for the development of St. Joseph is so contagious that anyone who hears him talk about his plans for this parish know that he intends to make a meaningful difference to you, the people. My friends, part and parcel of that has to be about stabilizing the housing and stabilizing the roofs of houses in this constituency. We know that when high winds come, they're likely to hit those in the elevations more and those near the coast more. And that is why every time we have bad weather, we begin to worry about those people who live in the Scotland district. And this government has been working assiduously. We don't only talk about the climate crisis. We have been trying to show you how you can make a difference with respect to the small things you can do at home, and how we can help you from hurricane straps right back through to stabilizing houses that are in precarious conditions. There are some parts that are more precarious than others. Last night, I referred to the fact that there are parts of St. John and Glen Burnie that if you went out there 10 years ago, you could have walked on land right on the cliff, and if you try to go out there now, you're going to drop in the sea. Because that is the nature of what we are facing. And regrettably, the sargassum seaweed affects the East Coast more than it affects the West Coast. And that in and of itself will create pressure for erosion. And that is why this government has committed to working with you to be able to deal with your infrastructure on land, namely the roads and the water and the drainage, but also on the coast, because the experts tell us that if we don't deal with it over the next 10 to 15 years, what we enjoy now as the East Coast Road could perhaps be significantly compromised and impaired. But you know, these things all sound good, but it takes cash to be able to do them. And it takes cash to be able to protect you. And many of you who are public servants know that firsthand, Because you lived in a Barbados under the Democratic Labour Party where you couldn't get a wage increase at all for 8 years. And we came, and even though we were managing to try and stabilize this economy, we said, we see you, we feel you, we hear you, and we put you first. And we gave you 3 wage increases in 7 years. There are 5,290 public servants that have been appointed in the last few years because this government said, do not wait to do them 1-1. But we will pass legislation to make wrong things right, because if a man is doing a job for 3 years without you telling him that he's doing foolishness, then you have to believe that he's doing the right thing, and you have to give him the presumption that he should be appointed, because there is no adverse reference, there is no negative reference, there is no bad reference to what he's doing. And that is what leadership is about. Being able to pick up and not be afraid to do the things, and to have confidence in our ability to lead and manage this economy, and to do and balance the needs. Look at all the needs we're talking about. You're not interested in roads and water and drains alone. You're not interested in housing alone. You're not interested in pavilions and community centers alone. You're not interested in securing your tenure in jobs alone. It is all of these things that come together to make your experience as a citizen of this country, as a citizen of this parish, better. And you in St. Joseph have been blessed with some of the most magnificent scenery, locations, and the people of Barbados not only love it, but all of the visitors who come here, the first thing we tell people is, have you been to the East Coast? Have you been to Bathsheba? And when they're asked that, very often they don't believe that an island so small could have so many different features. And it has been able to allow a number of you to make a living from interacting also with the visitors who come here through craft, through restaurants and facilities, through shops. All of these things make a difference to the quality of life you have. But we have a Democratic Labour Party who wants you to believe that you should confine yourself to 1 or 2 things that don't reflect the totality of your experience. When I heard David Estwick say that we are worse off and that people are suffering, I ask if he has a form of political amnesia. And if he forgets what he, as Minister of Water, presided over with the people of St. Joseph. That is why Boo Husbands called me up here. And try as you may, he made no decision to be able to solve your long-term needs. He talked about drought. He talked about why the dry pipes were there. But talk without action means nothing. I now understand why Ralph Thorne says you can't get between him and David Estwick, because both have perfected the task of talking without action. A lot of hot air. And if the total that you required from us is to come on a platform and talk, then they might even stand a chance. But you know from your own experiences that what you endured from what you are experiencing now is chalk and cheese. And that is why I have come to you tonight in St. Joseph to say to you, stay the course and hold faith. You have among you a young man that you raised and that you have given to this country. He is not only an engineer, he is an entrepreneur. in every sense of the word. You have seen what he has done with his ticket business. You have seen what he has done in being able to bring events to this country that have caused people to travel from far and wide to come to Barbados, adding to the economic activity of this country. And of course, you know about his skills with respect to engineering and construction. But I want you to judge him by the fact that over the course of the last 2 years, he made it his business to come into every community in this country, in this parish, and to go to almost every household, making sure that you would not be voting for somebody whom you had never met or known, but somebody who took the time, climbed the hills, engaged in the conversations, knowing full well that a moment would come when he would ask you to give him the opportunity to be your voice and your representative. I believe that Ryan Braffett is the best man for the job here in St. Joseph. And I know that many of you feel the same way as me. You know, he came to town in October to prove a point. And when we had our annual conference at Queen's Park, we decided that we were going to have a little competition as to who would be the best turnout branch and best organized branch. And out of nowhere, a man who had not even been nominated yet come and cat spraddle all of the other 29, including me. Reflecting passion, connection, and organization. The three skills needed for you to be able to see good representation here in St. Joseph. So I say to you, I do not want to hear that he good. I know that you have a man who is now running, 5, 6 times? How many? I lost count. Not a bad fella, but not suited for the job. And you know that you can't bring a plumber to fix. Well, he might try to fix the electrical work, but he might end up shocked because water and electricity don't mix. But you can't bring a plumber to help you if you got a bad stomach. You need a doctor. And if you don't have horses for courses, you ain't going nowhere. And that is exactly what you in St. Joseph know. There was one occasion when you said that you had to go away from this party, and we understood it. But you came back fast, because having stepped out, you remembered that it is always better with Labour. Because when Labour leads, and that has been the experience of the people of St. Joseph. So as we witness this transition from a hard-working, wonderful Attorney General to a young man with passion who has already come to say, watch me about here, who came within the bosom of the Labour Party and took the prizes. He is now coming in the bosom of parliamentary representation to try to outdo all of us. I have said to the others in the parliament, there are some young Turks that are coming. Watch them, because they will do new things, exciting things, and they will make and take representation to a different level. I know what I mean, because when Liz and myself and Toppin and all of us came, we carried representation in the Labour Party to a different level. And Ryan, I have those expectations of you as you go forward. Because first and foremost, never forget that you are the people's representative first and foremost. Without them, you can get nowhere. And I have every confidence that the people in this parish who know what it is to have been first represented by the founder leader of this great political party will remind him in whose shoes he stands, and will remind him that the expectations for him are great. And my brother, it starts first with getting out the vote. I don't want to hear that he good or he win already. I may not have the chance to be back here between now and the 11th of February. But I want each of you to recognize that this is a case where only your vote will make a difference. Not any support. Support is like flour. You don't eat flour. Support cannot help him. In 1991, when I ran, young man, everybody told me, we supported you, we supported you, we supported you. It's true, but they didn't vote for me to win. And I want people to remember that. Because there are going to be people on the day who say, man, I'm busy here fixing this car. I really can't come. Brian's safe, man. I ain't going to come. It is you who I need to come. Because I never see a ballot box open with a ballot yet. There are some who saying, man, I'm tired. I really am feeling too good. Take a little something, drink a little water and come along. Go and come back. You're going to come back good. Don't go when the line's long. Get in the middle of the lull, mid-morning or mid-afternoon. This is the only way your support for Ryan Braffett will translate in his being member of parliament. And I speak to you in these granular ways because there's a belief that this poll will be a low poll. But the truth is that it need not be if we do what we have to do. It is true that the Democratic Labour Party continues not to be able to excite its base. But if you lock out your own people out of your own house, how you expect them to come and vote for you? Can you imagine a woman like Miss Mapp from St. George? Miss Mapp in the Bassad, that liquor boy in Arthur. A whole Bassad that cat spraddle in and the Labour Party. And Rathorn lock her out of George Street. And Neen Whitaker call off all the names. Lynette Coward, Pat reminding me, and you here in St. Joseph know her. And the same people now want to come and tell you who never do nothing for them in George Street. Now, if they treat who do for them so, imagine how they're going to treat you who never do nothing for them. Let them stand where they are. Do your business. Organize, organize, organize. It will only be votes that will make the difference. So I leave you tonight confident that we have brought a man with great potential and great promise. But in order for that potential and promise now to become success, it needs your vote. And with your vote, we are then in a position to continue to deliver for you, the people of St. Joseph. Tonight is a rainy night. Tonight is a cold night. But just as tonight is rainy and cold, there will be sun and there will be warmth. And I trust and pray that you will recognize that the week in which election is called is a red week. It is a week of love. It is a week of red. And in order for you to enjoy that love a little more, do what you got to do. Vote Ryan Braffett, vote Barbados Labour Party, and make sure that we too can bring to the people of St. Joseph new quality, good representation in the vein of all that you have benefited before from Dale and the others. Good night and God bless you. And know that our eyes, our work, and all that we do remain wedded to make your life better in this country, because we know from whence we came with Grantley Adams and St. Joseph. Thank you.